Okay, so moving on to the next stage in bullion based stitches. So this is a padded bullion. So you start with what is essentially a satin stitch, it's a padded satin stitch. So 3 or 4 stitches in one direction and then another 3 or 4 in the other. Should be more or less square, doesn't matter if it's not. So that's your base, and that is essentially the padded bit. And then we go on to the bullion stitch. So you start from somewhere away from the stitch, from your pad, and then come in quite close, if not just underneath the corner of it, and then come back up and then make your bullion stitch as I've shown you before. And as I've previously said, I'm using the wrong kind of needle and the wrong kind of thread for this, so it's gonna fight me. Okay, so into shot, so pull through, make sure your little knot is tidy and together, and then come down and just tug that tight and just tuck it under the edge like that. And then bring your next thread next to the first one and around again. So this way you're building a flower around the centre. Like that. So just make sure that every new petal you're adding starts about halfway down the one before and tucks in close to the centre point. Like that. So that's a padded bullion flower, or at least the beginnings of, and you can go around as many times as you like. Use contrasting thread for the centre or matching thread, entirely up to you. Moving on to a detached chain bullion stitch. So we've already done chain stitches, so it starts off basically the same. So you come in the bottom of your shape and then come through at the top. So this is again another petal type thread, or petal type stitch, and here's where it stops being a chain stitch. This is where it becomes a bullion stitch. So instead of just going and putting the stitch in, you wrap your thread around 4 or 5 times and then pull through. And instead of bringing the thread down to make a normal bullion, you put your stitch in the top here. So I'll show you another. So like a loop stitch or chain stitch, just come in and catch the end of the thread like that, and then 4, 5, 6, wrap around a number of times, and then pull the needle through and just thread through to finish. So with this stitch you can make some very wide flowers that taper off quite nicely. So that's a padded and a detached chain flower.